Welcome back to Shoot the Shot, an NBA and variety show. It is October 8th, 2021. My name is Jonathan Osborne. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia. Not feeling all that well this week, but, not all heroes wear capes. He's still here rocking out. How we doing?
I feel like doo-doo, Jonathan. But, like you said, I'm here.
Right. That's what counts.
Yeah, my wife and daughter have the same type of sickness here. They did get COVID tested today. While I was at work, they got rapid tested, came back negative. So we're in the clear. It's not COVID. So it's all right. It's all right. I've got Thursday night football to keep me company tonight, Jonathan. I've got you to keep me company. I've got a lot to look forward to. We got a big weekend of football ahead, and then preseason's in full swing.
But yeah, barn burner of a game. A minute 55 less in the first half. Seahawks are up 7-0. I've got the Rams +3 in a teaser with the Packers. So I'm hoping that game will be a little bit more exciting. And then, not that you care because you're an un-American, but the U.S. men's national team, I believe, about to wrap up a victory against Jamaica tonight. So that's a good thing as well. Luke, pretty exciting week as the NBA preseason has started. Lots of fun things around the league. We've got some rumors this week. We'll talk some Ben Simmons stuff, some Kyrie Irving. We'll talk some trade stuff. The NBA GM survey came out. We'll break that down as well. But right now, Luke, I think it came out today. The NBA 75th anniversary, the NBA Lane commercial dropped today. I found it pretty. It was pretty entertaining. I got a good kick out of it. I watched it maybe 3 or 4 times now, actually. You just watched it. So what were your initial thoughts? What do you think of the commercial?
I mean, anytime that you get that many legends in a commercial, and I like that there was a great balance of both, past and present, people that will be legends, I guess, that will be able to look at this commercial and it'll be kind of like a vintage commercial, 20, 30 years down the road and be like, oh, wow, they got Donovan Mitchell and D Book and those guys in it, while also having, Gary Payton. I don't know how, I know how Michael B. Jordan just happens to just step into these roles and get all these calls to be on these types of commercials. It's Michael B. Jordan. Everybody loves him, I guess. So a really well done commercial. I think it flowed really well. I don't think there was any point where, it was boring. I think that there was always something new and exciting. You had Dirk in there working on his skyhook, and you had a lot of cool moments in there. You watched it more times than I did, Jonathan, obviously. What did you think of the commercial?
Well, so first I just want to start with my favorite part, the Devin Booker, driving in his lowrider, stopping by the Kobe mural and, the salute, and just kind of the whole scene just stops. Mm-hmm. For a couple, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, but I thought that was really cool.
Me too.
A couple things that I found interesting were some of the omissions from the commercial. I don't know if it's availability issues, but no Giannis, no Luka Doncic, no Michael freaking Jordan. No Charles Barkley. It just felt like guys that are obviously there's a few guys that are still around the league, but I don't know. It just felt weird to not have those guys.
You know what wasn't surprising to me, and this is part of me being a hater. Michael Jordan absolutely got an invitation to that commercial.
He had to have, right?
You know what he also got an invitation to for years, and he wouldn't let it happen? NBA 2K. He wouldn't let himself be put in the game. Bill Belichick did the same thing, I think, with Madden for a long time. These guys, they got enough.
Crotchety old men? Is that what you're saying?
They got enough money, I guess. I don't know. No, absolutely, MJ declined this invitation. As far as Giannis, Luka, guys like that, it probably just had to do with casting. The moments of the commercial, right? You've only got so long and whatever. They put it out. It was 2.5 minutes, though.
Look,
but
if you get Zach LaVine, no disrespect to the Bulls, I love Zach LaVine. I really, really like Zach LaVine. But if you can get Zach LaVine in there, you can fit Luka Doncic into the commercial.
If Aaron Gordon wins, those dunk contests against LaVine, does he get put in that commercial?
Nope. LaVine's a better basketball player. There's the image of Aaron Gordon literally right behind me here. this is a green screen if you guys can't tell, but like Zach LaVine's the better basketball player. Like we tried to argue that for a few years, like
Right,
especially
but what's the
after
reason he was dunking?
contest.
So I'm thinking like
I mean,
if
because
AG,
he's an all-star. I mean, he's one of the better players in the league right now. He's one of the better guards, especially in the Eastern Conference. And yeah, you gotta like it was really easy to just throw him in there. And I love Manu throwing him the lob, like seeing Ginobili in that was really awesome. Haven't seen Manu in a long time.
How about Gary Payton stopping the bus?
That was hilarious. That was probably my second favorite part of the whole thing.
Michael B. Jordan explaining to the kids in the back, they call him the glove. This is what he does. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, you can't get by me. That was really, really, really funny. I thought they did a great job with that. But no, it was just a lot of fun. It was like it got really deep into that commercial. It was like, no LeBron. It's like, LeBron's got to be in this commercial, right? And then, of course, LeBron, he's, throwing the seeds up into the air. He's a gardener or whatever. And then, like, LaMelo Ball is sitting there playing NBA Jam.
Playing games on
Benny
the arcade games. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. But, yeah, I just found it weird that a couple of those guys, weren't in it. That commercial could have been 10 minutes long, and I would have watched the entire thing. Like, I don't know. Were you, like, a WWE, like a wrestling fan when you were a kid?
Never was, no.
I figured as much. But so I think it was mean? I don't know, like whenever it comes to like nerdy things like that, like you usually like just don't have an interest in it. You know what I mean? Like that's just something that I've noticed over the length of our relationship.
Continue.
About you or about what I was saying before?
No, don't speak my name. What is that? WWE what?
Okay, WWE there was this video game. I don't know if it was Shut Your Mouth or like one of the old SmackDown games, but you could go into like the menu and watch like these they called it the SmackDown Hotel commercials, and it was kind of shot in like the same way with like all the wrestlers, like everyone's like doing different stuff, Kurt Angle is like angle slamming someone into the pool, like Stone Cold and like The Rock are like fighting in the lobby. It would be stuff like that. And this commercial, the NBA 75 commercial, was just like very like reminiscent of that for me. So I just found it really cool. Again, I could have watched that kind of stuff all day. But enough about that, Luke. Let's talk Ben Simmons. I feel like we're like both really, really tired of talking about Ben Simmons. You've got some pretty interesting stuff in terms of like the amount of money that he is subject to lose if he like really follows through with not playing this season and doesn't get traded. Which I just don't see happening, but I know you've got that for us.
So, Ben Simmons is slated to make $33 million this year before fines. And the reason I say that is, so our friends over at Pick a Side Podcast, if you guys haven't listened to them, go ahead and do that. They've got a YouTube channel that they heavily utilize. They're also on all the podcast platforms. But anyway, our boy Joel did the legwork for me because I hate math and I wasn't about to add up numbers. He said that Ben Simmons is facing between practice and games, that the Sixers could really do him dirty and give him $25+ million in fines this year.
Is it doing him dirty?
No.
Is it doing him dirty? Like
no, but they could make him feel it, right? I mean, like it's just making him feel it.
I don't show up to work. I ain't getting paid, so I don't feel bad for him at all.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have no type of empathy for Ben Simmons right now. Also, like, Maury, like, just figure it out. I don't know. Figure it out.
So, like, the most recent reports is, in terms of, like, yesterday. So, Malcolm Brogdon, of the Indiana Pacers is supposedly drawing interest from the 76ers. And just kind of looking, at the numbers and kind of what makes sense, I think the conversation would really have to start with a package of Karis LeVert and Malcolm Brogdon for Ben Simmons, like, really just to make the money work. What do you think of that trade? Who do you think wins that?
What, Brogdon and Simmons?
Yeah, it would be LeVert and Brogdon for Simmons.
I don't know. I don't know who wins that trade, to be honest. I mean, I would say as far as it goes, I mean, Brogdon I think is severely underrated. LeVert obviously had that medical scare last year, and then thankfully comes back.
He's also dealing with an injury right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, Simmons' stock is obviously going to go low. We talked about it before. Maury doesn't want to, usually
he's got
make a
back
trade.
fracture right now. So,
right.
They say it's a minor setback. He may be ready to go sometime near the start of the regular season, but Yeah, he's definitely had some injury woes.
Yeah, well, I mean, you bring Brogdon in, and I think that's great too. I mean, he's averaging last year 21 a game, up from his 16 a game the year before, on 4 more minutes, shooting almost 39% on almost 7 attempts a game. I mean, Ben Simmons wasn't giving you that. I know Ben Simmons obviously is giving you that elite defense, obviously, but Brogdon and LeVert, I have no problem with that trade. I think that that's a good trade. I think the Sixers are going to be lucky to get that trade, to be honest with you. I think that we're seeing a standstill because Morey's like, wait, I should be getting more. But it's like, no, Morey, that's not how this works. Ben Simmons clearly wants out. His stock, his trade stock is plummeting.
All your leverage is gone.
Day by day, week by week that this goes by, that he's not dealt, you're hurting yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot. I don't know what Morey's waiting on. I don't know if his pride's in the way, but either something's got to give. Morey's got to trade him, or Ben Simmons' people in his corner have to be like, dudes, you have to play. This is a terrible look for you. You need to play.
Yeah, I at this point, it doesn't seem like Ben Simmons is going to blink. Like, I think people were saying that originally, like, oh, once he starts to lose money, like, eventually he's going to come around. Like,
he's too far in. He's going to look like he's going to look like an absolute idiot if he suits up a few games in this season because those fines start racking up. Like, is Ben Simmons, like, is this a game of chicken? It really is, but like, Ben Simmons is going to be sorely disappointed when those fines start hitting. I just wonder who's going to budge, and I don't know who's going to.
Well, he's done so many things at this point, like just cutting off all ties with the team. It sounded like there was like a group of 76ers players and like front office staff that was going to fly out to LA, and he's like, no, do not come. So
right.
I just feel like that relationship seems like irreparable at this point. But in terms of that specific trade, I kind of like it for the 76ers more than I like it for the Pacers. Just because I don't know that Ben Simmons, makes the Pacers all that much better. I mean, you're going to have like Domantas Sabonis. You still have, Miles Turner there, Jeremy Lamb. But, I mean, at this point, like, the 76ers are going to be lucky to get anything. And Malcolm Brogdon and Karis LeVert, like, those are two guys that, like, if you told me 3-4 years from now those guys are all-stars, I'd be like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So, yeah, I just don't see a way that the 76ers come out much better than that. But does Indiana do that? I don't know.
For the sake of Ben Simmons, I mean, we've talked about it. He needs the perfect system. He also needs, at this point, for a team to want to receive him, I think he really needs to go to a team that's already built. There's already a foundation. Ben Simmons can't go in there being the number one on a young team. I think I'd be scared as a front office and be like, does Ben Simmons, like, is he going to be eternally a disgruntled superstar if things aren't going his way? And do we want him on a rebuilding team? I think that if you're Ben Simmons, you better hope that Daryl Morey just budges and sends you to a contender, because otherwise, I mean, he's going to go from being disgruntled to being disgruntled playing for a bad team, in my opinion.
I'm just really tired of, first of all, just talking about Ben Simmons and the trade in general, because it's like we've been talking about it for like 2 straight months now. But it's just like I'm kind of fatigued of these guys signing an extension and then 1 to 2 years later, like, they're demanding a trade. Like, you made your bed, you signed the contract, now, like, just deal with it. Like, you're being paid an ungodly amount of money. But
right.
All right, Luke, the next thing that I want to talk about, and this kind of ties into Ben Simmons. So it's very, very early talks that we just started here the last couple of days. Is it sounds like there might be some talks, what might be mutual interest in trading Kyrie Irving for Ben Simmons, basically just straight up. I kind of like this for both teams and both guys. Kyrie, if he's not going to get vaccinated, he's going to potentially miss like 41 games in Brooklyn this season because of the vaccination mandate that's in place there. So he gets out of that situation, still goes to a contender in the East. He's not that far from Brooklyn, really. And then Ben Simmons goes, and I mean, he's going to be on a championship contender team. He's there with great shooters. I mean, if there's a situation to be in that would work well for Ben Simmons, being surrounded by like Kevin Durant and James Harden, who very much could just like get out of the way and let him do his own thing at times, and he can just be more of like a facilitator, have those guys play off ball. I mean, I don't know that there's going to be a better scenario in the NBA if the Nets are like, look, Kyrie is just not getting vaccinated, and that's totally his personal choice. We won't get into that. But if he's just not getting vaccinated, the fact is he's going to miss a lot of games there.
Yeah, he's going to miss a lot of games, and it's basically speculated that he's going to lose $380,000 for every home game he misses due to his being unvaccinated. If Irving
that's like 10 years of my salary.
if Irving misses all 41 home games, he would miss out on over $15 million. So, it takes a lot. Like, I'm trying to process.
That's some conviction.
Yeah. So it's just like, but if I told you, Jonathan, that there's a player, if before this all happened, right? I tell you 2 years ago or a year and a half, whatever, 2 years ago probably, before the start of the pandemic. Hey, Jonathan, there's going to be a pandemic, and in this pandemic, certain big markets are going to require their players to get this vaccination. Is there a player other than Kyrie Irving that you would think of in a big market that you'd be like, that's shocking, right? Like this, none of this catches me by surprise.
In a big market, no. In our market, like there was a part of me with Jonathan Isaac is like, is he? I don't really know if he would, and now we've learned that he hasn't. So, Kyrie would have been my number one overall draft pick.
Yeah.
In terms of guys that just like received to get the vaccine, especially in a big market. So,
well,
I mean, it's not surprising, but it is because, like, bro, like he's very well off. You know, he's definitely
right.
He could retire now, and he and his family and his kids kids would be fine. Like he's got generational wealth at this point. But yeah, that's a lot of money. Like that is a lot of conviction, and like a lot of me, this stuff aside, like Kyrie has just kind of annoyed me over the years with some of the antics and some of like the cancerous locker room behavior. But this is like, man, like if you're going to stick to your guns, this is a heck of a way to do it. Like $15 million, that is the epitome of putting your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
But what do you think of the fit? Like if it's Ben for Kyrie, just like 1-for-1, how do you think each team comes out of that?
I mean, it fits the bill as far as what I was saying about Ben Simmons and where he needs to go to to be in the right situation. He needs to walk into a contender. Well, guess what? There is not a better contender than the Brooklyn Nets, who, by the way, without Kyrie Irving, could still win the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
So Ben Simmons needs them far more than they need him. But that being said, I mean, he plays elite defense. He's just going to fit in. I mean, he's just going to step in. Don't ask him to make a layup to win the game because he'll pass out of it. And Ben Simmons could coast and win a ring, and I will think so lowly of him, even if he has nothing to do with it. For the rest of time, Jonathan, I am going to think awful things about Ben Simmons because this dude is just being a millionaire baby, and he's going to go to Brooklyn, and if he gets rewarded for being a baby, I will be so pissed.
I mean, it literally, like, we see it happen all the time, like, just in pro sports in general. Guys start pouting. They want to get out. Like, look at James Harden.
This is lockout Le'Veon Bell type junk.
I mean, hey, it didn't work out well for Le'Veon.
And I hope it works just as well for Ben Simmons.
But the James Harden thing last year, like, really irked me because it was like, all right, you're holding this organization, like, at hostage, and he ended up going exactly where he wanted to go anyways. It was like, oh, there's no way that the Nets are going to end up with Kyrie, KD, and James Harden, and lo and behold, here we are, basically.
Nothing's impossible anymore.
I don't know, 9-10 months later after that trade, and it's just because I was really excited for last season, going into, the last couple of years. It was like everybody kind of had their duo, like when it was like, Kawhi and Paul George, and it was, LeBron
AD and LeBron,
AD. It was, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Like all these teams had their duos, and then it was like, okay, well, this year they're going to have Kyrie and KD, so they're going to be really good. And then it was like, oh my God, here we go again. 2015 through 2018 18. Cavs and Warriors just going to go back and forth. It's just going to be the Lakers and the Nets every single year now, and that's just going to continue on forever. But yeah, I mean, part of me, and we've talked about this on other podcasts, but I wish there was something the league could do to limit the trio. Like, I feel like the duo, you're able to overcome that. Like in Golden State, it just happened like so naturally, and it was just sheer dumb luck that they ended up with two of the, I don't know, best three, maybe the best two shooters in the history of basketball in Steph and Klay, and then you just happen to end up with this top 5 defensive player of all time in Draymond Green, and everything just fell into place. So, like, but even that, we saw, I mean, it took a trio to take those guys down, but like a duo feels like no matter, like, you have a chance. It's probably unlikely, but you have a chance. When you add the third guy, it's just too much. So for those reasons, I mean, Kyrie's already there, so Brooklyn, it just feels like it's kind of ruined. I guess maybe a trio with Ben Simmons isn't as good as Kyrie in a certain sense, but Ben Simmons is more durable than Kyrie. He's a better defender than Kyrie. He's going to be more willing to defer to James Harden and Kevin Durant, so it might elevate those guys to a certain extent. I don't know. Maybe he would be a great fit in Brooklyn, but yeah, all that to say, I wish there was something the league could do to limit that, but I doubt that's going to happen really anytime soon. All right, enough about Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving, Luke. This week, the NBA released their 2021-2022 GM survey. So every year, the league sends a survey to league GMs to ask them, a bunch of questions. For example, what team will win the finals? How would you rank the teams in the Western Conference? Who's going to win the MVP? If you were starting a franchise today, could you sign any player in the NBA and who? And so on and so forth. And they do this, each year. I guess the best place to start is which team will win the 2022 NBA Finals. Right now, 72% of GMs, Luke, voted the Brooklyn Nets to win the NBA Finals. I don't know, that's a big surprise. And then second place was the Los Angeles Lakers, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks at 10%. No surprise there, really, at all. They went through the Eastern Conference and Western Conference rankings again. Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Miami, Philadelphia, the top 4. That makes sense in the East. And then in the West, the Lakers, the Jazz, the Phoenix Suns, the Denver Nuggets. I'm a little surprised that they have Golden State at 5, Luke. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking. You think they should be lower, is what you're saying?
I feel they should be higher. I feel like Golden State, to me, like if Klay is healthy, and obviously it's a big if, I just don't know how they're not like right behind the Los Angeles Lakers. Like Phoenix, are they going to be able to do what they did last season? I don't know. People are going to be expecting it. Like they kind of not came out of nowhere because they played really well in the bubble and then the addition of Chris Paul, but they're definitely on everyone's radar now. And then when you look at like Denver, like no Jamal Murray, probably at least until like the All-Star break. I just don't know how you look at Utah and you look at Golden State, just knowing what Golden State's been able to do when their trio has been healthy, and just say, yeah, they're the 5th best team in the West. I like, even on paper, it doesn't make sense to me.
I think that a lot of it is, I mean, you said it. You said Klay's a big if. I mean, what was it? Did I send this to you? Talking about like how much the league has changed since Klay Thompson has played in an NBA game. Like there are so many different things that have happened since Klay has stepped on the court, and made me realize, like, wow, it's been a long time since Klay Thompson stepped on a court. Now, luckily, Klay Thompson doesn't have to dribble. So
exactly,
he doesn't. All he's got to do is remember how to shoot and defend. As long as he hasn't lost, anything from that. I mean, yeah, I think a case could be made for Golden State to be higher. I think there's just a lot of uncertainty. I mean, not to mention you throw in two top 15 picks from the draft this year. I mean, and those guys are expected probably to get some minutes. I mean, they're going to get some valuable minutes.
James Wiseman, the number 2 overall pick from last year, he says he's feeling a lot better. So,
yeah, I mean, they could be really good and absolutely, break down the walls of what people thought they could do. But I still would, just because of maybe it's recency bias, but I still would have Phoenix above them. I think Denver, it's close, man. I think it's close. I don't
Not
respect
having Jamal for half the season, like, I mean, the one thing, and we talked about this last week, like Michael Porter Jr. really could elevate and just continue to carry them offensively. Like, that's a legit possibility, I think.
He could average like 23, 24 this year. He averaged 19
easily
last year. So I think that Denver has a lot going for him, obviously. I think, I don't know, on that Western Conference rankings list that maybe Utah should be fourth. I think I'm okay with Golden State right there. Clippers obviously without Kawhi, right behind them. Dallas behind them. Then Portland. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see kind of how that shakes out. But I think the Warriors, I'm okay with them at 5.
2021-2022 Kia MVP Kevin Durant receiving 37% of the GM vote. Luka Doncic 33%, followed by Giannis 13%, Joel Embiid, James Harden 7%. Luke, Kevin Durant, I mean, missed so many games last year. I don't know how anyone's able to take a look, just kind of his recent injury history and the amount that he was, load managed last year and just some of the injuries that he had, and are that confident to vote. I mean, is he the best player in the league right now? Probably, but I would not bet money on the fact that Kevin Durant is going to win the MVP. If he's healthy, probably, but I really don't believe he's going to be able to be healthy for, 70 plus games this year.
Here's the thing. When it comes to the MVP, a lot of times the best player in the league, in my opinion, doesn't win it. It's about
story. You don't have to say your opinion. I think that's like a universal fact at this point.
Right. Well, which is why, regardless, I do think Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA. I think he could win MVP for the reasons that you're saying, that you're listed already. He was injured last year. This is a feel-good Kevin Durant's back. He stayed healthy. He won the Finals MVP. He brought Brooklyn a championship. All of those, obviously it's a regular season award, and those things would factor in after, but it's what people would say about him, right? If he can stay healthy, I think that he has all the makings of becoming, being the MVP. I mean, he came into the playoffs, was a few inches away from going to the finals from that jump shot. I mean, he averaged 34 points a game. He played 12 games. I think that Kevin Durant is kind of the perfect formula this year to win it. He's got the narrative. Overcoming adversity of Kyrie not playing the whole game, home games, which, by the way, if Kyrie does stay with the Nets all year and only plays the away games, it will be the most bizarre but hilarious thing. It would maybe make it more interesting, the NBA more interesting, that Kyrie is in the playoffs is only playing the away games.
Oh, my gosh.
Like at
that point, it's like you want, like, just give them, like, if I'm Brooklyn and we're like, okay, we're just gonna ride with Kyrie, we're like, give me the 8th seed,
right?
Like if it comes down to a 7-game series, like you want as many away games as you can get at that point. Like, as bizarre as that sounds.
Right.
Last thing I wanted to ask you about, and then we can just kind of go through and kind of nitpick here. If you were starting a franchise today and could sign any player in the NBA, who would it be? Luka Doncic leading the way with 43% of the GM vote, followed by Giannis with 40%, and then also receiving votes: Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, Zion Williamson. So I always find it really odd, like Kevin Durant and LeBron James.
Yeah.
You could sign any player right now. If you were starting a franchise,
right,
those are the guys that you would start with, like 34 and 36-year-olds. That I understand it because it's like, all right, we're like in win now mode, I guess. But like if there was a fantasy draft, I don't see LeBron James and Kevin Durant like going like first. If you're starting your franchise, like I'm always thinking like I want like the best young player that I'm gonna have for 15 years.
I often wonder how seriously the GMs take this.
That's
survey.
fair.
I wonder this because what if they're
they have their
like
secretary filling it out?
Right.
Like,
what if they're not? What if they're like stuffing their face with like popcorn or whatever? I don't know. These GMs eat in their office, and their secretary's just like they've got their feet propped up, and they're just like, "Hey, read me that next one. What does it say?" And they're like,
Their poor secretary is on all fours, and they're using it like as a footrest. Like,
but it's like, but they're what are the chances that these GMs of teams that are in win now mode don't hear the words that are very important? If you were starting a franchise today,
right?
What if they're just like, if I'm the GM of the Lakers, give me Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Give me whoever. I mean, give me win now. That's a stupid question. And it's like, no, you're stupid. It said if you were starting a franchise today. You're stupid. You're stupid. No, so yeah, I think that's the thing, right? If I could sign, like if I was a GM and I could sign any player to start a franchise, I'm not doing any of those guys really that are also receiving votes besides Zion. And maybe Jokic. And then up to that point, man, I mean, I'm riding with Luka Doncic as well. I mean, he's just younger. If I'm starting the franchise, he's younger than Giannis. His ceiling is ridiculous. I truly do, and I've said this before, but I truly do think that like Luka, if he can win a championship in the next few years, when these Lakers and Nets these guys get old and it kind of fizzles out, I think he could win so many championships. And I do think that you could throw Luka into the GOAT conversation eventually.
Oh, my gosh.
I think you could, man.
Let the kid win a playoff series first, please.
No, what? He beat the Clippers. I mean, he's incredible. He's 22, man. His trajectory is insane. I think that at the end of his career, he's absolutely a guy, and that's the reason he's top of this list. So I think I'm all aboard. I'm with the GMs on this one. Number one, Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Luka Doncic as well. I think it's a little early to start throwing him in.
Of course it is, but what's the fun if I don't talk about 20 years down the road of what Luka Doncic will become? He has shown such incredible flashes.
He won a few games in playoff series against the Clippers. He hasn't yet won a series, so
well.
I know. You said this. This is not the first time I've heard you say this, so I'm not gonna. You're not. This isn't a hot take of yours. You legitimately feel this way. Let's just give it some time. All right, we'll move on here. This is something that I found odd. So there are two questions here that I feel like are the same. It says, which team made the best overall moves this offseason? And the other question is, which team will be most improved? I feel like those are the same question, but the GMs voted like drastically different ways. Which team made the best overall moves this offseason? 47%, like overwhelmingly went to the Miami Heat, which I really hope is not the case. I hope they did not make the best overall moves this offseason. But then which team will be the most improved? Chicago Bulls with 27% of the vote. Am I an idiot by thinking that's the same question?
Maybe.
Fair.
No, I'm looking at it.
It just feels like the team that is most improved should be the team that made the best overall moves the offseason. Like that, like just logically, that makes the most sense to me. Which one player acquisition made the biggest impact? Kyle Lowry, 77%. I cannot roll my eyes any harder than I am right now. I can't, like, there is not, I don't know if there's a, like, American sports franchise that I despise more than the Miami Heat right now, as good as they might be this year, and we'll find out on that.
Also, I would like to add, so if you look at the survey for which team's most improved, who made the best moves this offseason, yada, yada, yada. Golden State, not on offseason. Golden State on most improved. A huge part of that is Klay Thompson, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how the Bulls are number one on most improved, but not offseason, so I'm with you there.
Yeah, it doesn't make any, like, they also received votes, but, like, the Washington Wizards got 7% of the vote for best overall moves this offseason. I mean, they traded for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and freaking Kyle Kuzma. Like, those are their major moves this offseason. So, I mean, the Bulls went out and got, like, DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball. Like, give me DeRozan and Lonzo over Kuzma and KCP any day. I think we've made our case here.
Maybe they're talking about the jump, right? Like the jump from how bad they were last year, how far up are they going to go?
Well, like, then the question should have been formed, like, what team will have, like, the most improvement in wins this offseason or something like
Right.
that. I don't know. Let's talk rookies, Luke. Who will win the Rookie of the Year? Jalen Green, 47% of the vote, and then Cade Cunningham at 40%. Our boy Jalen Suggs sitting there at 7%, and then it's kind of everyone else. But I found this interesting. Which rookie will be the best player in 5 years? Evan Mobley, the leader, with 33% of the vote. So they feel like he's raw, but he's just got all the physical tools. He's already so skilled. When he puts it all together, it's really going to be scary.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the observation that they were probably all thinking. Because, he's not even... Was he even listed and also receiving votes?
For Rookie of the Year?
I don't think so.
He's not.
So, which is interesting. I mean,
so
you're telling me...
there's not a GM out there that thinks Evan Mobley will win Rookie of the Year.
But a third of them...
he'll be the best player in 5 years.
I think he'll be the best player in 5 years.
That's a pretty drastic comparison there.
Yeah, I don't know what they were... Oh, man, I just need more information. Of like the setting these GMs are in and how these actually like the way they're phrased to us, actually the way that they ask them on the survey. Regardless, I think Evan Mobley is getting disrespected. I think he should be on that list of at least also receiving votes.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put him number 1 as their best rookie in 5 years, I don't know.
Jalen Green and Alperen Şengün, like. I just don't see a way that Alperen Şengün is better than Jalen Green and wins Rookie of the Year. So not to have Mobley there is kind of strange. What I like here, Luke, is which rookie was the biggest steal at where he was selected in the draft? Number 1, Jalen Suggs, number 5 overall, 23% of the vote for the Orlando Magic.
Easy.
We got a glimmer of respect on this GM survey here. Apart from that, Luke, I think one of the most interesting things. Who is the best international player not in the NBA? So number 1, Nikola Mirotic, 53%. Number 2, I'm going to destroy this name, Vasily Micic, 23%. And then number 3, coming up in the 2023 NBA draft, Victor Wembanyama. If you guys watched I think it was the under 19, like the global games this year, for FIBA. Like Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren went head to head, and Wembanyama dominated him. Like it was ridiculous. So it's pretty cool that they already think he's the 3rd best player in the world that is not in the NBA. Pretty telling, I think.
Yeah, I mean he's the clear-cut number 1 for that 2023 mock draft, and I expect it to stay that way, especially after what we've seen. We saw it against Chet Holmgren. This guy's going to be insane.
I would definitely agree with that. And then the Magic got no respect in terms of most promising young core. Like, didn't even get also receiving votes. Like, we're behind everybody.
Yeah.
Denver even. Like, does Denver really qualify for, like, young core at this point? Like, who's their young core? Like,
MPJ.
Michael Porter Jr. and Bol? Like, what are we talking about here?
They think Aaron Gordon's still 22.
Oh my! Okay, that's gonna wrap up this segment. Luke, let's talk some bets. Let's talk some college bets first. How'd you do this week, and what have you got for us this week?
So last week I had Michigan +2 versus Wisconsin. My reason was very simple. I don't trust Graham Mertz and the quarterback there at Wisconsin. I was right. Michigan goes on to win that game. What was it? 38-17. So Michigan +2, no sweat. Meanwhile, I got absolutely just demolished in the last one. In the other game that I did UCLA -3, and they lost 42-23 to Herm Edwards. And then
you were throwing some Herm Edwards shade there last week.
I was most penalized team in the league, but regardless, they cleaned it up last week. They did pretty well. So my college record is 6-5-1 on the year. Going into this week, real quick, Ole Miss 5.5 versus Arkansas. They're both coming off a loss. Georgia absolutely just destroyed Arkansas. Didn't allow them to score a point. Ole Miss's offense is going to be the difference maker here. They lost 42-21 to Bama last week. Early kick on the road for Arkansas. They might be caught sleeping here, so I'm going to go Ole Miss 5.5. Second game that I'll give you guys, Iowa -3 versus Penn State. It's a home game for Iowa. Both teams are 5-0 on the year, I believe, 4-1 against the spread. The biggest thing for me, I mean, they're both great defenses, but I think the difference is going to be turnovers. I think that Iowa has the biggest turnover margin in the NCAA right now at plus 12. So I think that that's going to be the difference maker. Iowa -3. Ole Miss 5.5 against Arkansas. Iowa -3. Those are my locks of the week there for college.
How did you do in NFL last week? How were your NFL bets?
1-1.
Okay, playing it safe.
Well, yeah. So last week I had Ravens +1 versus Broncos. Everybody found out that the Broncos were a little bit of frauds. And
I called that. I didn't find that out. We covered that actually.
Yeah. So So Ravens had
And
that
the Panthers.
+1. Yeah. Let's see. Bucks -7. I had that. I regretted my decision on Sunday or whenever they played. Was that Sunday? They played on Sunday, right?
Sunday night.
So yeah, I regretted that decision, but I'm going to stick with it because it is what I said on the show. So NFL record to this point is 5-3.
I don't know what my record is. I haven't been keeping track of that. But last week I went 4 for 5. I had a little jersey teaser action. Teased the Giants and the Jets. 7 points each. Pulled that off. My New York Giants finally got a win on the season against the New Orleans Saints. Daniel Jones, the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, put some respect on my quarterback. He looked incredible. Saquon looks like he's back. If the offense can keep going and we can get the defense going a little bit, I'll start to feel much better about this season, but it is early. My bet, Chiefs -6.5 against the Eagles. They covered. Cowboys -4.5 against the Panthers. They covered as well. I knew that they were frauds. Then I had a 6-point teaser, the Vikings and the Ravens. They both covered for me as well. And then going into Sunday night, I had the Bucks -6.5. I didn't realize that Bill Belichick was going to call his weather balloon people and have it rain all over Foxborough. If I would have known that ahead of time, I probably would have bet a little bit differently on that. Let's not all act like he's not a confirmed cheater. I'm not saying anything that's like really controversial right now. But yeah, had I known it was going to be torrential downpouring in Massachusetts in October, I would have bet that game a little bit differently. So had that hit, I would have been 5 for 5. And then last night,
and just to be clear, we're blaming Bill Belichick, right?
Yeah, we're blaming Bill Belichick. No, I mean dude, his son, like Bill's got to have a talk with
took over the internet world,
dude,
with his tongue movements.
I don't know what's going
that boy
on
was
with
on there.
that, but Bill's got to bring him aside and be like, bro, like I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're doing before the games, what you're huffing, but you got to stop with that because it's embarrassing. But last night I got not some inside information, but a friend of the show, a listener of the show, his name's Jesus. He texted me. He's like, bro, I really feel good about the Cardinals tonight playing the Los Angeles Dodgers in the wild card game. I was like, you know what? I don't really care about this game. Let me bet on it. Let me get some action, and I'll get excited for the game. So I took the Cardinals money line, and I parlayed that with the Patriots and the Bucks money line. Patriots this weekend are playing the Texans, who are absolute just dog crap. And then the Bucks over the Dolphins. Dolphins not great. Tua Tagovailoa still hurt. Bucks, coming off of a close game. I feel like they'll want to get it going this week and kind of get some swagger back. The Cardinals, it was really, really close going into the bottom of the ninth inning. It was a 1-1 game. And then, 2-run home run from the Dodgers, and that completely blew up my parlay. But it was $50 to win 167. So I saw that and I got greedy, and really just didn't go well. But so not starting off my betting week hot. But right now,
I was there with you. I was there with you, Jonathan.
Exactly.
I was risking 20 on just a little something. 20 on Cardinals money line last night and the under 7.5. Under 7.5, cruising, baby. And of course, I stay up for the most boring baseball game ever, 1-1 in the ninth inning, and all to just go to sleep.
Can we time out real quick? I understand you can say it wasn't like very action packed, but like the tension of a wild card game, I don't understand how you watch that and you're just bored. Like I didn't care about that game whatsoever, other than the outcome. I probably watched from like the third or fourth inning on, and I was like just so tense the entire time watching that game. I don't know how you watch that and say it's boring.
It's boring.
Okay. All right.
I watched all 9 innings, Jonathan,
perfect.
and I hated every second of it, and then I hate the Cardinals now.
Yeah, that's kind of fair. It just felt like, I mean, I think they had they had who was it? They had a guy on second, like this short little stocky guy, and he's in scoring position. And as soon as they didn't score at the top of the ninth inning, I knew my bet was totally fried.
Oh, I love to check live odds during the game just to torture myself.
Oh yeah,
Cardinals after that point, like they went black, and it was just Dodgers like minus 800, and I was like,
oh my goodness,
good night. Good night.
Yeah, when they got through like Bellinger and like Seager and they got through like really the heart of the lineup, I was like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good right now. And then a guy just comes in and blasts a freaking 2-run homer. I think he was hitting like 180 something on the year, like something ridiculous. And of course, that's what they call a bad beat, but it is what it is. So right now I've got a little action going in this Thursday night football game here. Los Angeles Rams, Green Bay Packers got a 6-point teaser, so I got both of them +3. Rams at the Seahawks, Packers at the Bengals. Right now, last I checked a few minutes ago, Rams were down 3-7 to the Seahawks. So we'll see what happens there. And then I've got 49ers, Buffalo Bills, 6-point teaser.
Rams scored. You'll like to hear
A touchdown?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Darrell
beautiful.
Henderson.
That's even better. I got him on my fantasy
Oh, just
team.
kidding. 9-7. They missed the extra point.
That's okay with me. We're covering right now. We're doing well. But yeah, I've got 6-point teaser. Niners, Bills. Niners are at the Cardinals. Bills are at the Chiefs. And then I'm thinking of doing another little jersey teaser. Jets, Giants did well for me last week. My buddy's trying to talk me into it. I'll have to look more into that. But Luke, what do you have this week?
I'm glad you said the Jets.
Oh boy, here we go. The Jets again. This is you're putting your money on the Jets. Well, who am I to talk? Because I was just talking about putting money on the Jets 2 weeks in a row. But you bet the money line last week, my guy.
Tell me how it went.
You hit. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, Jets +2.5 at Falcons. No Ridley for the Falcons. No Russell Gage as a wide receiver 2 for the Falcons.
I need Kyle Pitts to pop off.
Who else is catching the ball?
Hayden Hurst. I don't know. I need Kyle Pitts to pop off.
It's Kyle Pitts.
Very underwhelming so far to start the season.
It's Kyle Pitts. Jets defense good against the pass.
Speaking of Gators, Kadarius Toney dancing all over the place on the Saints this weekend. Just want to put
incredible.
That out there.
Here's your last thing. Here's the dagger and any hope of the Falcons covering. Okay, you got this. Falcons are 1-5 against the spread the past 6 times that they were the favorite.
Wow.
1-5.
All right, I feel good now. I feel pretty good about that.
You should feel good about that.
The Cowboys are on some kind of like ridiculous streak against the spread. I don't remember what it was, but I think it's like 5 or 6 games in a row. I think it's this season. I think they've beat the spread every single week.
So
that's something to look out for.
Next one, the only other game that I've got is Panthers -3.5 against the Eagles.
Okay.
Panthers passing offense going to be able to get it done.
Yeah, the Eagles suck.
McCaffrey coming back officially will escalate the line, and I think it'll balloon up a little bit even more. Eagles, they're just falling apart in terms of defensively, especially. I think that this should be a little bit bigger of a line. They're anticipating the McCaffrey news. I think that this could go to 5-6 if McCaffrey's healthy. So we'll see.
All right, well, just a couple of housekeeping things before we wrap up the show. If you guys haven't heard, we started a Patreon this past week. You guys can find that at patreon.com/the6man-show. So if you guys want to check that out, that would be awesome. We've got some patrons here that I want to go ahead and shout out. I'm actually on Patreon right now. I'm trying to pull their names up, and it just shows you that I'm new to Patreon here, trying to find their names so that we can shout them out, because that's part of our Patreon. We will go ahead and shout them out each week here on the show, and then they get like a little special thank you. So we've got Zico, Keith Garcia, Armin, our buddy Drew Gooden, best friend Drew. Have you ever seen
Drew,
That's
nice.
My Boy with Adam Sandler and Andy Samberg? No, you wouldn't understand the breast friend joke then. But best friend Drew Gooden.
Oh.
And then the Court Cousins podcast. So thank you guys so much for being our patrons. You guys are absolute studs, units.
One thing.
Really appreciate that.
One thing I think is insane. Zico was one of the patrons that you listed, commented on our Patreon and said, "Just so you know, you have Orlando Magic fans and followers from Israel. Keep up the good work."
I like that.
So
that's dope.
That's crazy to me. Anytime that we can get love from somewhere that's not the U.S., it just really is pretty insane that this guy is, willing to give a little bit of money to support the podcast and support the show all the way from Israel.
Prestige worldwide, wide. Luke, I think that's a pretty good stopping point for us. Actually, no. One last thing I want to mention. If you're an Orlando Magic fan listening to Shoot the Shot here this week, this Sunday, 9 o'clock Eastern time, after the game ends against the San Antonio Spurs, we're going to be doing like a live call-in show here. You guys don't know what this is right now. This is Riverside. This is what we use to record each week. But on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you guys can find the video that we posted earlier this week. I actually just retweeted it, so you guys can find the link. The only things are you need a PC or a laptop that has a webcam, and you have to be using Google Chrome to be able to access it. Riverside, it's a great product, but it's still really early on, so there are some caveats that come to work with that. But it's going to be a lot of fun, right, Luke?
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for it.
All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this week of Shoot the Shot. For Luke, this has been Jonathan. We appreciate you guys listening, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.